Wait till I get back and see him. Wait till I slap a. Alright, yeah. Yeah, wait. Wait till I come back in the market late night. And then it's just you and I you up.
Children gonna be children. Kids will be kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I expect that from them. I expect them to do the wrong thing.
Word on the street is clear. King Harris's reckless mouth behind bars has finally caught up to him. Now his father T is scrambling to clean up the mess, but insiders claim it's too late. The gangs inside aren't planning to scare him. They're planning to silence him for good. Here's how it all started. A traffic stop that changed everything. Picture this. 20-year-old King Sandra Harris, son of trap legend Clifford T. Harris Jr., behind the wheel of a black BMW. What should have been a normal suburban drive exploded into a viral storm, blowing up Twitter feeds, Instagram stories, and world star comments. And it all began with one simple traffic violation.
I'm saying that you weren't allowed to turn left right there because it's separated by those double yellow lines. I got you. Do you have your license on you? Go ahead and step it up. Okay, Mr. Harris. Okay, we gotta have a talk about something else, so keep your hands on the steering wheel for me.
That's when the stop flipped from routine to real drama, running King Harris's name through the system. Officers hit on an active bench warrant out of Pickens County, Georgia, tied to charges from way back in 2022 to trace it back. You've got to rewind to August that year. King was pulled over and slapped with 3 misdemeanors: speeding, DUI on drugs, and driving with a suspended license. According to Rolling Out, these were minor traffic beefs, but King never handled them. By September 2024, when the court notice went out, it bounced back. In Georgia, skipping court, even on small stuff, lands you with a warrant. That's exactly what was waiting when King nearly clipped that squad car in October, and as the stop heated up, body cam footage caught officers smelling gas and spotting steel. King didn't dodge, he straight up admitted to having the burners.
I smell some weed in the car, so our procedure is we gotta check it. Is there anything else that I need to be aware of?
Man, I don't want y'all to check the car.
I can't hear you.
I don't want y'all to search the car.
Well, I understand that, but if I smell weed, that's probable cause to search the vehicle.
You're not gonna find nothing. You're gonna find my guns.
Just multiple guns?
I got a stick, an AR.
For people watching later, that was the jaw-drop moment. The son of a trap legend calmly admitting he's riding dirty, with heavy firepower, and loud in the car. But what shocked cops wasn't the stash, it was his composure. Instead of mouthing off, King kept it smooth, hands visible, stepping out when told, even cracking small talk with officers. At one point, one of them even told him,
"Seem like a cool kid. I don't want anything to come out of this, so let's just make sure that the warrant's valid and go from there, okay?"
That same calm carried through the footage, but once the warrant checked out, it was game over. King Harris was cuffed and taken into custody.
So they did confirm it, so the warrant is valid and they do want you. Hello. And now that I'm thinking about it, I want you to make sure that you know your rights. I'm gonna read your Miranda real quick. Just give me 1 sec. Just gonna read you your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law.
That was the Miranda moment. The point viewers knew King was officially booked. First stop, DeKalb County Jail for processing. From there, he was sent to Pickens County, where the warrant had been issued. The drama turned up another notch when, during small talk in the patrol car, King casually revealed who his father was. His pops, none other than the King of the South himself.
What's your stage name so I can look you up?
King Harris.
King Harris?
You know T.I.?
Huh?
T.I.?
Who's that?
That's my father.
No, I don't.
That revelation set the internet buzzing. This wasn't just some random kid in cuffs. This was the son of a trap pioneer, caught in the same kind of legal fire T had faced years back. But here's the twist. Despite the warrant, the weed, and the weapons, King didn't stay locked up. By the very next day, October 15th, 2024, the warrant was recalled, and he walked free. No fresh charges on the straps, or the loud Georgia's laws made that possible. Carrying is legal, and small amounts of weed usually mean a ticket, not hard time. Legally, the case fizzled quick. But in the court of public opinion, the damage was sealed. His name spread everywhere, from TMZ to Hot New Hip. Headlines screamed, "T.I.'s son arrested, guns, and weed found. Warrant confirmed." On paper, it looked like a short bid, but for the culture, it felt heavier. For years, T had warned his son about chasing a street life that didn't fit the suburbs. In interviews, he said plain, "Keep it up and you'll end up in prison." Now, that warning seemed to play out. And yet, the body cam told a different story. King wasn't wild. He wasn't reckless. He was calm, almost resigned, asking about the warrant, even requesting to call his dad.
I would appreciate more than anything right now is to be able to make a phone call. So when we get there, it can already be figured out.
To who? Who are you trying to make a phone call to?
I'm trying to make a phone call to my pop.
For the culture, that was the humanizing moment. King Harris, usually online flexing and chasing street cred, was just a young man in cuffs, asking to call his father. The footage didn't surface until 2025, but when it hit YouTube and the hip-hop blogs, the debate slid up fast. Some said it proved King was forcing the street image, echoing Atlanta Black Star's blunt headline. Others showed empathy, pointing out that a bench warrant over traffic charges could hit any young adult. Still, the optics were undeniable. T.I.'s son arrested with weed and burners in the suburbs. That clip cemented King as someone always tangled in the mix. But that was only the surface. While the official record shows a short jail stint and a quick release, the streets whispered a darker story. By 2025, the internet was flooded with claims that King got 5 years, that he was jumped in county, even that T was calling. Odds to keep his son safe. Behind every viral headline was another figure wrestling with fatherhood in the spotlight. Clifford Harris Jr., better known as T.I. King's October 2024 arrest was just one chapter in a deeper family conflict. A clash of generations, values, and pride that had been simmering long before those blue lights flashed in Dunwoody. For years, T had warned his son, from fights at Waffle House to flashing weapons online. King's antics made him fear his son was chasing validation in all the wrong places. T wasn't guessing, he had lived that life himself. In 2009, he served a year in federal prison on weapons charges, just one of many legal battles across his career. He often told King bluntly, "Keep this up and you'll end up in prison." When King was finally cuffed in 2024, it felt like prophecy fulfilled, but the cracks in their relationship were already public. At a Falcons game in late 2023, father and son clashed in front of thousands. King shouted he wasn't raised with a silver spoon, that he'd spent much of his childhood with his grandmother, not in T and Tiny's mansion. For King, it was about proving authenticity. For T, it was exasperating, his son rejecting the stability he had fought to provide. The stadium moment became a metaphor, a father and son tug-of-war over identity, while the crowd, both in the stands and online, watched like it was reality. TV.so when police pulled King over in October 2024 and found weed, firearms, and that bench warrant. It wasn't just a legal situation, it was a family earthquake. The body cam showed the contrast. The same King who projected bravado online, now calling for his father. Beneath the drama, he still saw T as the one person who might save him. T stayed calm in public. No Instagram rants, no press statements. But behind the scenes, reports say he was on the phones non-stop. Lawyers, court clerks, anyone who could help contain the fallout. It wasn't only about legal protection, it was about the Harris family name. The empire T had spent a decade building beyond rap. His son in cuffs threatened all of that, and while the arrest lasted less than 24 hours, its emotional weight inside the family was massive. Adding to the irony, as T navigated the fallout of his son's arrest, King himself was stepping into fatherhood. In November 2024, he and longtime partner Janicia Big Nana Epps welcomed their baby boy. King Jr. for T. The irony hit hard. In a Hot 107.9 interview after the news broke, he cracked a joke that doubled as a truth bomb.
King's about to have a son.
King's about to have a son. Congrats.
Yeah. And I told him I'm gonna make this the greatest gangster of all times. I will raise this child to torture you the way you tortured me.
It was raw, it was funny, but it was also a sign the cycle was repeating. King, once the rebellious son, was now the father being tested. For most families, a son's arrest or a father-son clash stays private. But the Harrises aren't most families. Every disagreement becomes a headline. Every mistake becomes a meme. Billboard ran stories on the arrest. Atlanta Black Star mocked King's obsession with proving he was street. Social media turned his life into content. For T, that meant every fatherly misstep was public. For King, every reckless move became proof that he was out of control. Together, they were a spectacle, part hip-hop dynasty, part reality drama, part cautionary tale. King once compared his relationship with T to Ghost and Tariq from Power. It wasn't just a joke, it was spot on. Ghost the father clawed his way out of the streets, trying to shield his son from those same mistakes. Tariq the son rejects that protection, chasing his own independence, even if it puts him in danger. That's the Harris family dynamic in a nutshell. T sees his past in King's future, while King sees his father's warnings as chains to break, and the public eats it up every stumble, every headline. Viral. What makes the Harris saga captivating isn't just fame or controversy. It's the humanity. A father who loves his son but fears for him. A son who loves his father but refuses to admit it. A family balancing privilege and authenticity. caught between being ordinary and extraordinary. By 2025, it was clear King Harris's story was bigger than one arrest. It became about generational push and pull, about hip-hop legacies, and about whether children of fame can carve their own path. King's future, his music, his fatherhood, his place in T's shadow will decide if he grows or stays stuck in the same cycle. Because when people talk about King Harris in 2025, the conversation too often starts and ends with that October arrest, the flashing lights, the body cam, the mugshot. But his story isn't just about a Dunwoody parking lot. It's about what comes next. As an artist, as a father, and as the heir to one of rap's most complicated dynasties. On November 5th, 2024, just weeks after that arrest, King welcomed his first child with longtime partner Genesia, Big Nana. Epsi proudly posted the news, November 5th, 8:09 a.m., welcome King Jr. time to take over. Becoming a father at 20 is life-changing for anyone. But for King, the timing was surreal. 1 month, he's in cuffs asking to call his pops. The next, he's holding his own son. Funny, yes, but serious too. Because how King handles fatherhood may decide if the cycle repeats, or if his son rises above it. At the same time, King was grinding on music. Since his teens, he's been dropping tracks, trying to escape T.I.'s shadow. But the October arrest shifted the narrative. On one hand, controversy brings streams. When he released Dear Son after his child's birth, fans listened, not just for the music, but to see if he'd rap about growth, regret, or defiance. On the other hand, the risk was obvious. Would his name be remembered more for mugshots than mixtapes? As Billboard highlighted, being the child of a celebrity is a double-edged sword. Doors swing open, but expectations climb sky-high. King himself once likened his bond with his father to Power's Ghost and Tarika, relationship fueled by conflict but grounded in love. That parallel bleeds into his music, too. A young man trying to step out of his father's shadow while still shaped by it. For better or worse, being T.I.'s son is part of King's brand. In hip-hop, family legacy is both a blessing and a curse. We've seen this play out before, Lil Romeo carrying Master P's empire while chasing his own lane, or Coi Leray constantly compared to her father Benzine. Rap heirs are always judged on whether they earned their place or had it handed down. That's why King's viral Falcons game argument with T.I. hit so hard. He shouted that he wasn't raised in privilege, that he grew up at his grandmother's place where life was rougher. That hunger for authenticity explains why he flashes burners online, why he leans into controversy. But here's the catch. The more he tries to prove he's not just a privileged kid, the more the media boxes him in as exactly that. King's journey reflects a cycle bigger than one family. Hip-hop is full of artists who clawed out of the streets only to watch their children chase the same world. T.I. himself is the prime example. He rapped about hustling, survival, and prison before reinventing himself as a mogul and family man. Yet his son looks back at that old image as more real than the suburban comfort he was given. It's the eternal loop fathers work to give their kids a better life, only to see those kids rejected in search of street credibility. Even T.I. has voiced his frustration, admitting that King is determined to go his own way, no matter the advice. And King's defiance mirrors the struggle of countless rap legacies. Kids born with money, chasing a reputation that can't be bought. At its core, this is a father-son battle, except it isn't private. Every clash plays out under a microscope. The Falcons game argument, the online jabs, the arrest footage where King begged to call his dad, these aren't just family fights. They're public performances. So when King compared himself and T.I. to Ghost and Tariq, he wasn't exaggerating. That's exactly how it feels. A generational power struggle, with love buried under resentment. Which brings us to the million-dollar question. What's next for King Harris? With the birth of his son, King now faces a defining choice. Fatherhood can anchor a man, forcing him to grow. But it can also become another weight in a life already lived under a spotlight. Every decision he makes as a parent will be judged, debated, and dissected. Will it shape him into something stronger, or break him? His music career faces the same test. Controversy may bring clicks, but it doesn't guarantee respect. His challenge now is to turn mistakes, clashes, and chaos into storytelling that feels authentic. If he can channel the pain of his arrest, the tension with his father, and the glare of the spotlight into his art, he can carve out a lane that goes beyond T.I.'s son. But if he relies only on viral drama, he risks being remembered as a headline, not a headliner. The Harris name carries weight in hip-hop, and that weight rests on King's shoulders. I built an empire out of struggle and survival. Now the world watches to see whether King will honor or undo that legacy. Every step he takes toward growth or destruction becomes part of a larger story about inheritance, legacy, and the burden of greatness. Right now, King Harris is at a crossroads. On one side is the reckless kid chasing validation, on the other is a father and artist ready to mature. Which road he takes will decide whether the next headline is another mugshot or a platinum plaque. In the end, this isn't just about gangs or jail. It's about a family in transition, a father trying to steer his son away from his own mistakes, and a young man desperate to prove himself on his own terms. King Harris is more than T.I.'s son. He's a rapper, a father, and a public figure whose every move will be magnified. The internet thrives on exaggeration, but the reality is dramatic enough. A young man standing in his father's shadow, struggling to build a legacy of his own. The real question isn't whether T.I. begged a gang member, it's whether King Harris will rise into his potential or let the cycle repeat.